Okay, so it's been a little more than a week since the George Zimmerman not guilty verdict. And I'm going to be honest with you, I know a lot of y'all probably don't care, but since that verdict, I really haven't been sleeping that well. Now, yes, I've had other sleepless nights in the past, but I haven't been sleeping that well because it's like every time I try to go to sleep, I hear George Zimmerman not guilty. That was going on for over a week now. And during that time, I always seem to wake up an hour or two later, and I still hear George Zimmerman not guilty. And I don't understand the verdict. People say the prosecution didn't prove his case, when for me the case is that George Zimmerman got out of his car and started to follow Trayvon Martin for absolutely no reason, open and shut right there. Okay, but obviously I'm wrong. But I want to read this to you. I got this off a Facebook book earlier. I don't know who wrote it, but what it says basically is, so, if your daughter is walking home from the store and a man in a car starts following her and gets out of the car and chases her, if she stops running and knees him or pepper sprays him or trips him, she is the aggressor and he is justified in shooting her in self-defense? Whoever wrote this, he is a part of a group called Americans Against ALEC. And ALEC is the American Legislative Exchange Council. And what they do is they lobby, or actually they're a group of conservatives or Republicans, one or the other, if not both. And they lobby different state legislatures that are majority Republican. They will legislate the House of Representatives in Washington, who is a majority Republican, and tried to get them to pass laws for their own selfish purposes. For instance, they are behind the stand your ground laws in Florida and approximately 31 other states. Now, in those 31 other states, some of them do have stand your ground laws. Others are considering stand your ground laws. Unfortunately, Ohio was one of them, and especially after Trayvon Martin, if I can help it, no, that won't happen. I wonder if in Florida they repealed some laws. I'm going to read a few of them to you. These are slave laws. Okay. A 1712 Act declared that it was always to be assumed that a black person was a slave until proven otherwise. A 1722 Act gave law enforcement the right to search blacks for guns, swords, and other weapons and arrest them if they were away from their master's plantation and did not have a pass giving them permission to be away. Let me go ahead and read. I want to comment on that in a minute. Slave patrols were given permission to whip slaves deemed to be dangerous to the peace. Rumor of slave revolt or actual slave revolt could result in hundreds being whipped, burned alive, or banished, usually with little or no proof of wrongdoing. Let me go back to this 1722 Act for a quick second. Let me read it again. A 1722 Act gave law enforcement the right to search blacks for guns, swords, and other weapons and arrest them if they were away from their master's plantation and did not have a pass giving them permission to be away. So, this young lady down in Florida, no less, she fired. Her husband was attacking her. She was in the process of getting a restraining order against him. Her husband was attacking her. She fired a round into the ceiling. She got 20 years. Is that because this 1722 Act has not yet been repealed? A brother, Army veteran, he is also doing, I think he's actually doing 30 years because he was at one of his friends' house. Now, the stand your ground law states that you do not have to retreat if somebody is threatening you or if you feel your life is in danger. Well, these teenagers, I believe, I don't know if they were black or white, they were threatening a friend's house that he just happened to be at. Well, to get them to back up, he fired 2 rounds into the ground. Now I think he's doing 30 years. Is that because he's not allowed to have a weapon? Because he's black? Some more slave laws. Let me read this real quick. South Carolina established its slave code in 1712 based on the 1688 English slave code employed in Barbados. The South Carolina slave code served as a model for other colonies in North America. In 1770, Georgia adopted the South Carolina slave code, and then Florida adopted the Georgia code. The 1712 South Carolina slave code included provisions such as slaves were forbidden to leave the owner's property unless accompanied by a white person or obtaining permission. If a slave leaves the owner's property without permission, every white person is required to chastise the slaves. So what, George Zimmerman? Trayvon Martin did not have permission to walk down the street? Any slave attempting to run away or leave the colony, later a state, received the death penalty. So that what it was? He didn't have your permission to walk down the street, so you decided to kill him? Any slave who evades capture for 20 days or more is to be publicly whipped for the first offense, branded with the letter R on the right cheek for the second offense, and lose one ear if absent for 30 days for the third offense, and castrated for the fourth offense. Like I said, I wonder if those laws have been repealed yet. Now, I'm going to tell you what, when I hear black people say that they think they got the verdict right, what I hear is, oh, that little pickaninny knew he ought not been walking around that night. You know Master don't like us walking around at night by ourselves. That's the law. That's what I hear them saying. What's his name? Alan West? I believe he's an African-American congressman from Florida. He said earlier today, and I just read this article today, he said that he has never experienced racism because he was always respectful. Always respectful. What's that? Yes, massa. We do whatever you want me to do. I do whatever you want me to do, massa. That's what I hear him saying. After the verdict was read, it is my understanding that Ann Coulter said, "Hallelujah." And when Ann Coulter said that, I wonder if she was thinking, we getting closer to them plantations again. We getting closer to having our blacks. Remember when she said that? Our blacks are better than their blacks. So I guess their blacks are going to be able to walk around free while liberal blacks are locked up on the plantation. Now, I like what Dr. Phil said this morning. Dr. Phil said this. He was talking about the Trayvon Martin case, and he was talking about where the prosecution probably messed up. Now, I did study criminal law one time, and I often heard this but for. But for, and I'll give you an example. Hopefully I get this example right. But Trayvon Martin would be alive today but for, what's his name, George Zimmerman, getting out of his car with a loaded weapon that, according to the Neighborhood Watch regulations he was not supposed to have. And I'm going to go back to what I read earlier. So she's walking home from the store, and a man in the car starts following her. Gets out of the car and starts chasing her. She stops running, knees him, or pepper sprays him, or trips him. What I hear people saying is Trayvon Martin did not have a right to defend himself, because once he got out of the car and started chasing him, Trayvon Martin had a right to defend himself according to the law, the stand your ground law in Florida. That just gets my goat, especially when I hear black people saying that they got the verdict right. Anyway, where was I at, man? I'm so pissed off. I'm trying not to get upset. I'm trying to finish this up. Let me go ahead and finish this up real quick. Black people, my brothers and sisters, we must stop killing each other. As long as we do not stop killing each other, white people are not going to have any respect for us either. We need to get our young people, get them guns out of our young people's hands. And I'm not saying responsible people cannot have guns, but young people, we've been set up from the beginning. I'm going to tell you straight. Y'all need to read the book Slavery by Another Name and the New Jim Crow. Slavery by Another Name will tell you how Americans' minds, let me put it like this, we've been brainwashed, people. We have been brainwashed since the beginning of America, and especially after the Civil War. If you remember correctly, that 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, and this is the state's way out, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. After the Civil War, that's where the black codes or the Jim Crow laws came into effect. So a black person could be arrested for any reason that a white person decided. They would go back into slavery on somebody's farm, on the company's mine, so on and so forth. All I'm saying is, people, we need to have this serious conversation about race in America, because it does still exist. It is still alive and well. And if we keep burying our heads in the sand, more and more people are going to continue to get killed for absolutely no reason. Again, black people need to quit killing black people if we expect white people to respect us and to quit killing us. We need to put our foot down. Parents, we need to get control of our children again. And because of the way that laws have been applied, that is the war on drugs, white people use drugs just as much as black people, but you're not going to see them in jail as much as us. We get harsher sentences for the same crimes that white people commit. Check it out, it's true. In any case, let me end here. People, take control of your lives so you can own your future. Peace out.